So I'm here at Sam's Club and I think I got everything I need. I got eggs, got pork rinds. They had some markdown Wagyu. I went to buy what they call grass-fed, but they didn't have it this morning. But they did have the Wagyu for less than $5 a pound. So I marked down, but still within the expiration date. So I went and got that. I picked up another 4 pounds of bacon. They had it's like 3+ pounds of sockeye salmon marked down. They even had some smoked salmon marked down. Normally about $14. Now it's less than 10. Looks perfectly fine. So pick that up too. Now we're going to take it back home. Have a little vacuum sealing adventure. In the middle of the aisle, full of junk food. Incredible. Doesn't bother me at all. Okay. Got the haul from Sam's Club here. Go out and get the pork rinds. Lock the car. And here we are. Got all the essentials today. Pork rinds and a big box of markdown meat. Cool. Anyway, here it is. And eggs, bacon, and fish. Okay, it's time to put some of this stuff away. So I got it in my refrigerator here. Also, I've got a dry brine steak for later. Some chicken wings defrosted in case the spirit moves me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the smoked salmon that I bought. And the way that I manage that is I keep it in the shelf of my freezer and I put the newest stuff in the back and the oldest stuff in the front. And when I feel like having it, I'll defrost it. The next thing I want to do is put my bacon away. And this bacon from Sam's Club, this Wright's bacon, comes stuck together with this god-awful glue stuff, and you have to get it apart and get your daily exercise at the same time. And this stuff, well, that's unusual. Usually you have to cut the packages, so they started doing something a little different here. But I pull all this stuff, just comes off. You just have to pull it off. It's crazy, but I like to take it off so it doesn't stick together in the freezer. The whole idea of this is to put it in the freezer in separate 2-pound packages, so when you take it out of the freezer, you just throw it in the bin in the fridge to defrost overnight, and then it's defrosted for the next day. And when the package of bacon that I have, God, this has got more of this adhesive than this stuff usually does. I picked a winner this morning. Okay, there you go. You can play with this stuff. Throw it away. Then I take a Sharpie generally when I freeze something, just so I know which is the oldest. And somewhere on the package, I'll write the date. Today is May the 9th. May And for some reason on this plastic, sometimes these Sharpies don't write too well, but give me an idea. May the 9th. And then in the freezer, what I do is I always keep 20 or 30 pounds of this stuff on hand, because you never know when somebody's going to pull a stunt and there's going to be a shortage of this stuff. So I have piles, rows of it here. The newest is always on the left and the oldest is always on the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that over to the left. I'm going to move all of this stuff over to the left. I'm going to take my new bacon and put it over here on the right, and I'll start to build up this pile on the right. When I buy more, I'll lift it up and put it underneath. So the newest is always on the top, and then as this moves over, that way I know, for example, that this is the oldest bacon that I have in the refrigerator. And that's the one I want to use first. Not that it makes that much difference. All right, what else we got to deal with here? We've got this Wagyu beef that I bought, and I think what I'm going to do, I keep that in the freezer over here, is I'm going to take out the oldest ground beef that I have, which is that. I'm going to put the newest stuff over here, and I'll put the oldest stuff on top, and I may take one of these out right now, throw it in the refrigerator. So I'll eat it tomorrow. Today I'm eating steak, and we'll defrost that. Now, the next thing I want to deal with is this 3+ pounds of sockeye salmon that I got marked down today. I got 3.2 pounds, which normally would have been $35, and I got it for 26 bucks. This stuff is great, and I've decided that the way that I like to prepare this stuff best, and maybe the only way I'm going to cook it from now on, is to cook it sous vide in with butter. You can call that butter poached or whatever. It came out fabulous. I made a video on it, which you'll find from not too long ago. So the easiest thing for me to do will be to portion this stuff out and vacuum seal it with pats of butter in it already, maybe a dusting of salt, and that way I can just throw it in the sous vide and it'll be ready to eat. So we're going to take this and we're going to decide how many, how many portions I want to make, because I want to freeze it in single portion size. Also, I'm going to pick a sous vide bag that is not overly big. I've got these Wevac bags here, and I'm wondering if this smaller bag is going to be big enough for a single portion of salmon. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that I'm going to need the bigger bags. That'll work. And I'm going to use the CV10 here today. I'm going to use the smaller vacuum sealer, so let's plug it in. This thing is great. This thing is great. It's a less expensive alternative for people who want to vacuum seal stuff. It won't do things quite as big as the no butter. It won't do things quite as big as the CV12, but it's less money, and I love it. I love it. Now, I use Curry Gold butter that I get from from Sam's Club, and so we'll get myself a new stick of that. And I'm doing this video just to show you. Do this maybe once every couple weeks. How much or how little time I actually have to spend. And I like to call it executing the carnivore diet. Might sound a little brutal. It's like I'm trying to kill it, but no. Executing something means actually doing it. So let's take, we've got 2 big pieces here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some paper towels down here. And I think that out of these 2 big pieces, I can get four really nice sized servings of this. So I want to rinse it. So let's do that. Let's rinse it off. I don't even know if this is necessary, but let's just rinse it off. And blot it a little bit. Cut it in half. Having good sharp knives is always the best thing when you're dealing with fish. Let's just blot this off a little bit. So we've got, that is a healthy size serving of salmon. Now, if you make salmon, and this is like probably 12 ounces a piece here. If you make that much salmon and you just don't feel like eating it all at one sitting, the beautiful thing about salmon is cold salmon, cold cooked salmon is fabulous. Leftover salmon is great. In fact, sometimes I'll just cook up a piece of salmon and throw it right in the refrigerator because I like it so much when it's cold. The fat in salmon kind of gets a little hard and gives it a great texture when it's cold. So don't be afraid of cooking too much of this stuff. Now, I don't snack, but a lot of times I'll use leftovers as an appetizer during the meal. As you know, if you've watched me, I really make an effort. In fact, it's more than an effort. I just never do it. I never eat between meals. Never. I found that one of the things that really makes this work for me and makes it easy for me to control my appetite is the fact that I allow my digestion, once I start the cycle, to finish. I allow it to finish. So we're going to take 4 pieces of this salmon that I'm prepping, and a little time, a few minutes that you spend prepping this stuff in advance just makes it effortless on a day-to-day basis to actually execute the diet. And it really pays off. It really pays off. Now, interestingly enough, when you sous vide this with the skin on and the butter in the bag, when you do that, the skin becomes just soft. You don't even realize it's skin, and there's a lot of nutrition in the skin. Now, I sous vide this stuff at 145 degrees for 45 minutes, and that seems to be perfect. But the thing about sous vide is you can leave it in there longer than the 45 minutes, and you're not going to overcook it. So it's almost a foolproof way of cooking this stuff. So I'm going to take these 4 pieces of salmon. Now, salmon is expensive, but I got these 4 pieces for how much? I got these 4 pieces for $26, so it's less than $10, which for something as healthy as salmon that I like to eat fish at least once a week. Something that's that healthy, that's not expensive anymore. That's why I like to find the markdown stuff. And the markdown stuff always is, at Sam's especially, is always good for about 3 days after you buy it. They mark it down generally 3 days from its best used by date. So I've never, ever been disappointed with anything, and I buy it on a regular basis. Never been disappointed by anything that I use from Sam's Club that I bought marked down. So we're going to take and put like 3 pats of butter in each one of these things, because you can't have too much butter. Now, a lot of times I'll make this and then end up putting it on top of an omelet, which is one of my favorite ways to meat salmon. And in that case, I'll probably have half of this left over. So we're going to turn on the vacuum sealer. We're going to go into, it's in automatic mode. It'll take about 40 seconds to seal this. So while it's sealing one, I'll go ahead and package the other. We put one end of the bag into the little clip, stretch it out across the sealing bar, close the lid, and hit start. And there it goes. Now, this does take a little longer when you're doing a chamber style than if you had just put it in a sealer that sucks the air out of the bag. But the nice thing about this is I don't care if it takes less than a minute to do, because it doesn't suck anything out of the bag. If you've got juicy food or even liquids, you get a great seal. So here's the second one. And I decided not to salt them. A lot of times, I like to taste my food before I salt it. There's nothing worse than ruining a good piece of food by over-salting it first. You can always add salt. Okay, so the first one is vacuum sealed, and this is what I have. Now, I'm just going to write 5, 9. I'm not worried about the year. I like to date these things. And that way, I might have some salmon in there the same that I want to use first. So, let's take and do the second one. So even if I ate this stuff once a month, I've got myself a month's supply of salmon in the freezer, ready to go, ready to sous vide, which is just a matter of throwing it in the sous vide and cooking it. Doesn't require any finishing after that. Once it's sous vide, you've got a beautiful piece of salmon. You can just open the bag and eat. For those of you who always ask me, what about the plastics? These bags are chemical free. The sous vide temperature is not, it's warm. It's not hot enough for even plastics with chemicals to release what I think would be any appreciable amount of this stuff. Don't worry about it. Everybody's always looking for something to panic over. Oh my God, you might get a molecule of plastic. Life's too short. Life's too short. None of us are going to live forever anyway. So, if the amount of plastics that we might be getting from a technique like this, which we do once in a while, would actually affect our life after 400 or 500 years of it, you know what? Don't worry about it. Forget about it. Just enjoy yourself. And that's it. I have dispatched all of the stuff that I bought at Sam's. The only thing left in my refrigerator is my steak for today and some hamburger and wings that are defrosted. I have a little bit of this stick of butter left. Put that away. Hardly any cleanup. Just wash off the cutting board and knives. That's it. And we just got to find a place in the freezer to put these. And I'm going to put them right here. 1, 2. So with that, I want to tell you, everybody have a good one. Take the rest of the day off and eat meat and or fish.